Hey all, Steve from GuitarNiche here. On the bench, we have a 2008 Gibson AJ Birdseye. Rather nice instrument. I've been working on this instrument for, well, since the owner bought it. And when it was brand new, it was really cool, but it's still really cool, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's some wonderful detail in this thing, right? But it has developed a bit of an issue. I think it kind of stems from where we live in this part of the world, being Canada, northern climate and stuff. And what has happened is the neck to body angle has moved. It was actually, it didn't take very long for it to become compromised, and we've been working around it for a long time. Look at this inlay. It's just gorgeous. Look at that. That's pretty cool. The owner loves this guitar. It really is a beautiful instrument, but it needs a little help. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at what the main issue is. And if you can see this, the bridge is slanted to give the bass side a little bit more room, which is fine. I mean, this is a great design. It's great forward thinking, you might say. But you notice the saddle is very, very low. It's been like that for quite a while. It's in playable territory, but it's got no room for error. I mean, it's at the bare minimum. And to complicate things, there's actually a pickup underneath there, which I purposely excavated and modified the saddle for. Fishman ellipse system that's been in there for years and functions very well and works great. But in conversation with the owner, what we've determined is that a neck reset at this point is not within his means. So I said, okay, let's go to plan B. Plan B is going to be to reconfigure the bridge so that there is a little bit more purchase for the string angle and getting the height of the strings down to where it's a little bit more flexible with overall playability. Because right now it's maxed out, it's compromised and stuff, and we got to do something about it. The idea is, I'm thinking I'm going to take off some material off the top. It's thick enough to it's thick enough to maintain substance and not be compromised by warping or anything like that. And to illustrate the issue, see if I can get a good shot of this. Here's my straight edge. On the treble side, we're butting up right against the upper part of the edge of the bridge there, and it's about a 32nd of an inch lower than what it would be if we were on top. Now if we go over to the bass side, I already measured this, and it's about, see if we can get a good shot of that. It's about 332, which is considerable. I mean, that's a lot of real estate that is hindering the performance of the instrument. And we can also see that there is virtually no break angle, and very little break angle. So by taking down the bass side especially, and perhaps evening out the bridge to a degree, I don't want to disturb the aesthetic and the look of it too much, but it will mean pulling the Perloids, to get a look at what's going on in there, and making some qualified judgments as to how to proceed. But we'll get there, and we'll follow up with this as soon as we can. Okay. A little tiger action, pretty cool. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you informed. Thanks for coming out. Well, just for giggles, I thought I'd document how I pull these Perlite dots out of the bridge. So all I did was I took a little piece of dowel, wooden dowel, maybe, I don't know, a little over 1/8 of an inch in diameter, and put a little drop of crazy glue on the bottom. And we'll see after I let them dry for a minute or two. Popped right out, just like that. Beauty. And that'll clean up. I don't even know if I'm going to reuse it, but you know, it is what it is. So, but and then there's plan B. This one, let's see if it does the same thing. Nope. Well, that one's going to have to get a second shot, but regardless, this is what's going on down in the hole, which is just a Forstner bit, you know, nice sharp recess there. Lots of room for excavation or taking some material off the top, as the plan is. Anyway, we'll get there. Oh, by the way, and there's the pickup, and there's the saddle, which I have get a better shot of this here. You can see how I've modified it by notching it to get as much, you know, action purchase as possible out of it, and hopefully we can either salvage this, recreate it, or whatever. I might have to run the router through that slot to deepen it, but we'll see. We'll make a decision and we'll see how it goes. So here's the plan. After taking some measurements of this AJ Birdseye, this Gibson AJ Birdseye, what I've determined is that I can appease some of the top material, which you can see in this template here on the bass side is considerably higher than the treble side. Of course, it's you know, designed that way, but it's caused a structural playability issue, which has been aggravated by the instrument being in North America, Canada, so to speak. So it's living in an environment that is, you know, at best 50% relative humidity, but it's still succumbing to the pressures of time and pressure. I thought about this a lot, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to reroute this channel so that it is more in line with the top. So there's a minimum depth on the treble side here, and then I will take a little bit of the top down more towards the bass side using this 1/8 inch Dremel bit. The end result will be I should have more purchase with being able to create a saddle that is a little bit more substantial and gives us more real estate in terms of being able to create a proper radius and adjustability, overall adjustability with the end result. The wrinkle here is going to be recreating the channel for the pickup that was in there. Okay, so it's, you know, it's not rocket science, but it certainly requires some careful tinkering, and we'll get to it and we'll take it step by step. Okay, and we'll see how it goes. I had to make up a jig here to access the bridge and route it properly. I also had to deal with a couple of distortions in the top that I didn't want to deal with beforehand. One being the bridge is actually tipped a little bit forward this way, and it's been like that for years. The chances of it going totally back to level and staying there are slim to none, you know. Braces are fine, all that good stuff. But also we had to consider that meant that the channel for the saddle was not quite perpendicular either. So it was canted forward a little bit, along with if you get my meaning. So the bridge is tilted forward a little bit, which means the saddle goes along for the ride, you know. So I had to come up with a plan to accommodate the different angles. On top of all that, the treble side is lower than the bass side on the bridge. And if we refer back to this little template I made here, what I wound up doing was routing the slot deeper and taking about 1/16 of an inch off the entire top. So another way to say it is I routed the slot. I kept the treble side pretty much where it is because you don't want to go too thin there or it's going to shear. So I kept, I wanted to get a little bit more uniformity out of both sides of the slot so that it looks a little bit more cosmetically appealing. And back to this template here. Considering I had the two angles to deal with, forward cant like this and a raised bass side, I just took an old piece of plexi that I've been using for years and threaded some bolts into strategic locations, and through that I was able to do this and this. So I was able to accommodate the angles and keep things consistent. So it worked out just fine, you know. Things at this point are rolling along pretty well. So we'll get rid of that for a second. The next step here is getting the new saddle fashioned. Okay, so the plan is to rough in the height like so, and I've gone through this a few times to make sure that oops, it's wound out a little bit. There we go. We're not going too low where we were, it's like a haircut. Hope that doesn't grow back. Okay, so just by going back and forth, and I use the original saddle as a template, and wound up just putting shims underneath each end to see what the discrepancy was to get the strings in line with the body, okay, or where they should be on the neck. The bridge is still actually sitting a little bit proud. It's not the best, but my thinking is if I take too much off, it's going to alter the tone of the instrument too much, and we want to preserve, for one, we want to preserve the structure as much as possible, and we want to keep, not disturb the tone so much that it's like, what happened to it? Well, but then again, it could be beneficial. Who knows? By the way, before I forget, these are just stuck on with double-sided tape, and you'll notice that there's the pick guard here. What I did was I used one thickness of double-sided tape here, and then double thickness for the rest. So at least I knew I had an equalized plane to work with. Okay, so there's that. The next step, of course, will be I'm going to tighten up the slot a little bit. That's not too big a deal. I've got some dots to put back in there, and by the time it's all said and done, and we get the rest of the pins in, it'll look just fine. Okay, but it's it's a bit of a job getting to that point, but that's the plan as it is. Okay, and before I go, I will take a shot of the front face with the template to see what we have taken off. Okay, so here's the template up against the face of the original bridge. Okay, you can see the top contour now is down about 1/16 of an inch across the board, maybe a little bit more on the bass side because there was a little bit of distortion in it from canting forward. And maybe we can get a look at this here. You can see how the bridge is thicker on the bass side. And here's our saddle, the before and after. Okay, so it's going to be pretty substantial. The new one will come down a little bit more, not too much, but you can see that it's got a lot more purchase in that slot. I'm also being very careful about the prospect that, you know, that front edge could shear off. We want to maintain the integrity there, so we didn't want to go too deep. So it's a balance of all things, you know, and it's not a neck reset, but we're getting there bit by bit. Okay, well, we got the basics of it all ready to go. The dots are reinstalled. The bridge is being cleaned up, polished as much as as it was to begin with. The bridge is fitted, new bridge, and there's the old one. You'll see the notch for the pickup that was installed. At this point, it's really cleanup time. Well, making sure that there's, you know, full functionality. It's a little loud, but whatever. But it's tracking great. You know, it works fine. My interests here are making sure that it's clean at the footings. As you can see, we still got some cleanup to do to match the contours and stuff, but and a little bit more work to do to get the strings down to where they should be. They're still a bit proud, but we've got more than enough material to work with, and the amount of break angle over the strings is just fine. So everything at this point has worked out just peachy. It's really just putting the icing on the cake. And before I go, I'm going to mention one little thing. I've been, throughout this whole process, I've been using the old strings as reference points because, well, why kill a brand new set of strings when you got something else to work with? But here's two things I want to say. One is, you'll notice that my registration points for the routing and stuff are still in place because stuff can go wrong. And why set stuff up all over again until you know for absolute sure that everything is a-okay? So that's point one. Point two is the old strings are going to be sacrificed anyway. I'm going to put a new set of strings on. So as I go through this initial setup and zeroing in on maximum playability for this instrument, I understand that through experience that old strings, as they're tensioned up and released and tensioned up and released, they stiffen up. And as I go through this, when I get really close to changing out the strings for, you know, the final process, I'm going to tune this up to a semitone down, and that will basically imitate or be well within the range of the regular strings, brand new set of strings with full elasticity, but still stretched out, full lifespan ahead of them. So my point is, this instrument, like any acoustic or instrument in general, guitar, is basically a loaded spring. So I know I'm rambling on a little bit, but I want to make a point of this. You have to anticipate change under pressure. If you don't anticipate change under pressure, you're going to wind up, you know, maybe doing a whole lot of work and then go, oh, you know, now it's up to pitch and I got to change everything. We don't want to wind up in that situation. So a little foresight and a little planning goes a long way. Hopefully you get something out of that. And eventually, you know, this will all come together. At the moment, it's tuned down quite a bit. Almost 2 tones, so I can get a sense of you know, the height at the bridge and stuff, and I'll creep it in to get things all you know, spec'd out properly, as I said, within a semitone, and do a test run. Once I'm happy with that, I'll throw the new strings on, and we are good to go. Cheers. So how did it turn out? Well, pretty darn good. I wound up taking about 2.5 millimeters off the bass side. I left the treble side alone. That's the original height, and brought the bass side down. About 332, what is that, 6/64, or as I said, 2.5 millimeters. And when I put a straight edge on it, it just barely kisses the top side of the bass side here, and there's nice clearance, just perfect clearance on the treble side. So we're really working around what should be a neck reset. You can see some of the, you know, finishes distorted from the excessive pulling over the years and stuff, and there's some degradation in the neck joint there, but otherwise it's a really nice instrument. It sounds, plays perfect right now. It's like just awesome. Beautiful inlays, really awesome guitar all the way around, and nice tuners. Really cool old script logo, really nice. And we'll give a little bit of a sound treat as we ride this out, okay? Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Read the resources below. Play loud. Have fun. Have a great day. Cheers!